Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Typically when we talk about manifesting, we're talking about getting things. Like, how can I manifest a new house? Or maybe you want to manifest a new car. Well, today we're going to talk about how to manifest the sale of a house or a car or anything else that you are interested in selling. My purpose in doing these videos is to teach you how to manifest things for yourself through the use of self-hypnosis. First of all, I want you to understand what manifesting is. How does law of attraction actually work? And then how can we make that work for us through using self-hypnosis? And we do that by using a process that I've developed called the Personal Change Blueprint. And you know what? I'm going to put a link below with a PDF for you, and you can print out your own personal change blueprint in a blank form, and you can just use that for anything you want. If you fill this out and you get all of that information on there, then you can use that information in self-hypnosis, and that will change the quality and the content of the information that you are sending out into the universe. And this is how you're going to manifest different things. So we're going to specifically talk about how to manifest the sale of a house. One of my viewers here on YouTube who subscribed, thank you so much, but he left a comment and he said, how can I manifest the sale of my house? I've been trying to sell this house for 4 years. Gosh, that's a long time. And I haven't talked to this person. So, some of the obvious things I would want to say is, 4 years, that's a long time to try to sell something and it's not selling. So just want to double check that when you want to sell something, that you've got the right price on it and, all of those kinds of things. If you have a tiny 1-bedroom home and you want $10 million for it, it's probably not going to sell, but there are many other considerations as well. So let's just based on the premise that everything is right with this car or this home or whatever you're trying to sell, that it is the right price for the value, et cetera, let's talk about what you can do to change your vibrational frequency so that you attract the right buyer for that house. If you haven't already printed out a personal change blueprint, again, I've got the link below. Go ahead and get that done. Otherwise, you know what? You can just take notes as we go along here, and I'm going to walk you through this whole process. There's 8 steps to it, and it's the same every time. And if you've watched my videos, then you will maybe starting to become familiar with this process. But again, this is a golden process. This is how you create the suggestions you give back to yourself in self-hypnosis. And as you repeat this information every day for just a couple of weeks, you create new neural pathways in your brain. You truly rewire your brain, that subconscious mind. And so now you're in that mindset. It's how you change your mindset. It's how you change your perspective. Most importantly, it's how you change the information writing out on that frequency into the universe. And the reason you're not manifesting the sale of your house is because you have 2 very divergent levels of frequency going out. The conscious part of your mind wants to sell the house, and you it's like you've got this in your mind and you're excited, and there's all of these good reasons to do this, right? All of the desire and the wants and everything you're sending out from the conscious part of your mind. The subconscious part of your mind, it's also sending out frequency. And this is all from the past. And I don't know what is in your programming, but I can tell you right now, if you're trying to sell a house and it's not selling, you've got some programming going on that is sending out the wrong information on that frequency. It could be that you are very afraid of what will happen if you don't sell the house. Maybe you feel like you're really asking too much, but you know what? If you can get it, you can get it, right? But there's just there's some sense of it. I'm not quite right with the price on it. Maybe there are things going on with the house, something wrong with the house that has not been disclosed, and you're fearful about, what if they find out? But mostly, I don't know, again, what's in your subconscious mind. But I can tell you right now that if you've been trying to sell a house and you have not been able to, you got a lot of fear-based stuff going on, and that information is going out, and you're bringing back to you the reflection of that information. And that's why it's not selling. So let me review briefly again, and I go through this with all my videos. So if you've seen them all, I'm sorry that you're going to see this again. But you know what? If you're new to my channel, this is all new to you, right? So here we go. First of all, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Give me a thumbs up and leave some comments for me. I like to talk about this with everybody. And here's how law of attraction works. It was kind of like a radio station. So let me start with that. I always think it's such a good analogy. A radio station sends out a frequency, and there's information on that frequency. And that information is what you hear when you dial to that radio station. Now, the radio station 98.5 is called 98.5 because the frequency that they own peaks. It goes like this. And it peaks 98.5 times in 1 second. That's where they got that call number. The radio station called 103, there's peaks 103 times per second, and that's where they got that call number. But here's the point. They have the ability to put any information they want on this frequency. So if it's a country western station, that's the information writing on that frequency. If it's a talk radio, it's talk shows all on that frequency. Now, here's what's interesting is that if we have a radio, when we want to hear that, we dial the radio, and the radio it's a sending and receiving, and it's sending out a frequency too. And when it finds the same frequency as 98.5 or whatever the other one was, the like ones, you can hear their information. And then you change that dial and it starts searching for a different frequency. And when it resonates, it finds another frequency that it matches. You can hear the information on that station. So that's pretty rudimentary about how information is sent and received with a radio station, and we are not too dissimilar. We're sending out frequency. Okay, there is like a radio out there that's searching, and when that frequency is found that matches ours, okay, it comes back to us with that same information on there. So if you're sending out information on your frequency of doom and gloom, and I'm never going to sell this, and oh my God, what am I going to do? And it's going to be so expensive, and no one's ever going to like this, and yada, yada, right? You get the point? Well, if that's what you're sending out, that's what you're getting back. True story. It's really quite simple. Here's the part a lot of people don't know, is that these two parts of you, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, right? They're both sending out frequency, but they're not the same, usually. The conscious mind is, it's you. You're consciously awake and aware and alert and with it, right? You know what you want and everything. And then the subconscious you is that part of you with all the fears and the history. They're very, very different frequencies, but the conscious part of you is only sending out 1 to 5% of that totality. 1 to 5%. That's not much, is it? So, I tell people, you can say all the pretty words you want, but if you don't have those desires of the conscious mind embedded into the subconscious mind, it's not going to happen. It's just not. Sorry, that's how it works. So how do we change that? Self-hypnosis. By going into the state of hypnosis, you relax, your brainwaves slow down, and this dividing wall that is keeping these two parts of you from communicating, this dividing wall goes away, and you can tell your subconscious mind what you want. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to teach you how to tell your subconscious mind what you want. Of course, you're going to fill in the details, but I'm going to guide you through this process. And it's really important that you learn to use the right language, because the language you use is it's all translated into imagery. Your subconscious mind isn't sending out words, it's sending out imagery. And that is all based on the language that you're thinking, speaking, listening to, reading about, etc., etc., etc. So it becomes very important to start paying attention to the language and think about what imagery is being created by this language that I'm thinking about. So I'm going to guide you through the process. Let's take a look at the very, very first question on that personal change blueprint. And this is where you're going to look at the unwanted situation and see if you can find some value in it. There's value in everything. I don't care how awful a situation is, there's something about it that you can, some golden nugget that you can take, that you can embrace. And sometimes I ask my clients, I'll say, so what qualities do you have as a person now that are good? You know, things you've learned through the school of hard knocks, right? Qualities you like about yourself that you would not have had you not been through this very unwanted situation. So put yourself in the position of this gentleman who has his home and he hasn't been able to sell it for 4 years. Where's the value? What good has come of it? Well, I don't know the circumstances, but I'm thinking, well, you haven't had to pack your stuff and move. That could be good, right? You haven't had to, if your children are in school, you haven't had to relocate your children. So the benefit is that your kids have been able to stay in school. Maybe, I don't know what else would be good for you. You have been able to enjoy the same neighborhood if you enjoy that neighborhood. You've still been close to your favorite store. Maybe you have learned to be more honest with yourself about the dollar amount that you ask for things that you're trying to sell. Maybe you met some people along the way that have become friends, people that you like to hang out with, and you wouldn't have met them if you had sold the house right away and moved. So again, I don't know the specifics for you, but whatever it is you're trying to sell, a home, a car, maybe you're just trying to have a yard sale and get rid of stuff, or maybe you have a small business and you just want to sell more jewelry or something like that. Okay. Look at the problem, the unwanted thing, and say, where is the golden nugget? Now, why do I want you to do this? This is all about that frequency, because right now you're sending out a frequency. In other words, you're sending out information on a frequency that's all about, I'm not selling this. Dang it, it's usually about money. I'm not going to have the money. I'm not going to be able to pay the bills. I'm frustrated. When is this ever going to end? No one's ever going to want this. I don't know what your story is, but I know it's not a happy one. Okay, otherwise you would have sold what you want to sell. So when you look at what's going on, the story you have about this unwanted thing, that information is a story. And if we just look at that and say, I hate that. I'm so sick and tired of this. I just want to change it. I know what the problem is now. I just have this negative story. So you know what? Screw it. I'm done with it. I'm just going to change my ways and think positive. Well, you didn't really get rid of that information. In fact, you kind of added some nastiness to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to very gently morph the information on that by looking at the value and saying, okay, I see the goodness that's come out of this, and now I can thank it and bless it and send it on its way. Can you feel the difference in that? It's such a more loving, gentle way of shifting that vibrational frequency. So that's your first step. And once you're able to do that, then you can tell your subconscious mind, it's like, you know what? I don't need that negative story anymore, even though it brought me A, B, and C. I appreciate that. But I don't need that negative story to get A, B, and C anymore, because now, fill in the blank, right? Well, this is where you create what I call your now statement. You're explaining to your subconscious mind that, yep, that's the way it was. I appreciate it, got some goodness out of that. But now here's what's up. Here's what's going to be happening now. Now I want to enjoy all the benefits of finding just the perfect family to buy this house. Something like that. Okay. So you've identified the value in it. You've written your now statement. And we're on to the next question. And this is your outcome. And this one's really important because basically this is a really simple single sentence about what you want. This is where so many people word it the wrong way. They actually say what they don't want. I don't want to wait any longer to sell this house. Well, I know what you mean. I'm not a computer, but your subconscious mind doesn't process you not doing something. So you have to say what you do want to do. I want to enjoy the sale of this house in the very near future. I want to happily meet the family that will purchase and move into my home right away. Okay, so say what it is that you want. I want to find it easy to attract just the right buyer for this house. Okay, something very simple. Don't worry about all the details, because as you listen to the rest of this video, you will see we're going to cover all the possible details, and probably a lot more that you never dreamed existed. So write down that outcome. Now, here's the trick to the rest of this personal change blueprint. What I want you to do now is, as you answer all the rest of these questions, I want you to answer them from the perspective that you have accomplished your outcome. You've got it. It's a done deal. Whatever your outcome was, I want to enjoy the fact that I have sold this house. Let's say that's your outcome. Okay. Put yourself in that position. It has happened. Don't keep flipping back to, the old days and how it was yesterday or even this morning. Put yourself in the position you have accomplished your outcome. It's a done deal. Woohoo! Celebrate. Next question then is, because you have accomplished your outcome, what is different? What changes do you notice? What's different in your life because you have accomplished your outcome? So just brainstorm anything. Now, sometimes this is hard for people, especially remotely, to figure out what they're supposed to write for this. So what I would suggest is to start working through your day. What will be different in the morning when you've sold this house? And again, I don't know your circumstance, so I don't know. Are you living in the house? Well, if you sold it, then right off the bat, you're going to be waking up in a new house, and that's pretty exciting. One thing that's different is you're going to see boxes all over the house, and you're boxing things up. One thing that's going to be different is that you are going to be feeling incredibly excited about this change, and it's going to be so much fun. I think, down the road a ways on these questions, we get to what it feels like. We get a lot to write in that part. But for right now, just brainstorm a list of changes you notice. Where's the evidence that proves to you that you have accomplished your outcome? So once you finish that, then you go on to the next question. And again, based on the assumption that you've accomplished your outcome, the next question is, because you accomplish your outcome and you see, all that evidence and all that stuff happening, what does that look like? What imagery comes to mind for you when you review the story you're creating? This is a mind movie that you are creating. So what does that look like for you? What image comes to mind? This can be literal or figurative. Maybe you see, rainbows and butterflies. I always say that. I guess I like rainbows and butterflies. But if that's what you see, that's what you see. Maybe you see yourself, on the phone, changing all the utilities to a different company. Maybe you see yourself in your new home unpacking boxes, or I don't know what you see. What does it look like to you when you run through this scenario? Next question, again, from the perspective that you have accomplished your outcome, you've reviewed all the evidence, you have reviewed what it looks like, and now, just like all good movies, there's a soundtrack to this. What sounds are associated with you accomplishing this outcome? That's always a silly question, but you know what? Every movie has a soundtrack. So when you think of this, maybe you hear yourself hooting and hollering with joyfulness. You hear yourself telling all your family and friends, I sold the house, I'm so excited. Maybe you hear the sound of yourself on the phone making arrangements for the movers to come. Maybe you hear the sound of all that money jangling in your pocket. Who knows what the sounds are? The voice in your head, that's a sound. Comments from other people, that's a sound. The absence of a sound, like maybe this house is next to the railroad tracks and it's just noisy as heck. So what's going to be different is it's going to be peaceful. Life in your new home is going to be really beautifully peaceful. That's a sound. Okay, so that's the sound part. Now, if you've got that jotted down, next question, feeling. And this is what I alluded to just a moment ago. So again, we go back to the outcome. Because you have accomplished your outcome, you review all of this evidence, all these changes that you notice because you've accomplished your outcome. You see what that looks like. You notice the associated sounds. And how does that feel? This is the next question. What does that feel? Oh my God, I know you're going to feel relieved and you're going to feel elated, and you're going to be thrilled, and you're going to be happy, and you're going to be prosperous, and you're going to feel like finally, all kinds of feelings. There will be physical feelings and emotional feelings. So jot those down. Now, if you already wrote some of these feeling things down in the other answers, which is pretty par for the course, it's okay. You can just write them down again. Repetition's the name of the game around here, So write down how this feels. Now, the next question is kind of a summary question. So before you answer the next question there, number 7, I want you to go back to the outcome and maybe just review this like a little movie. Because you have accomplished your outcome, and you notice all these changes, all this evidence that proves to you, because this is happening, and this, and this, and this, just going through all those details. And when you go through all of that, this imagery comes up for you, and you see the imagery of these changes, and you hear the sounds associated with this change, and you feel all of those feelings that are connected with this, right? So you've gone through the whole thing. Next question is this. What does having this change do for you? What does that change do for you? You've accomplished this. I mean, this is a big deal. This is the sale of this house that you haven't been able to sell forever, or your car, or whatever it is that you're selling, right? So, man, I mean, it's not like, oh, I just sold it, so now I don't have to sell it anymore. There's a lot of information, all of these changes, and the sights and the sounds and the feelings, right? It's a big deal. So what does having that do for you? Take some time on this one. Get that written down. And the next question is number 8, and it's got 5 little parts, but it's all the same question. And the question is this: what is the positive influence you notice? Again, because you've accomplished your outcome, what positive influence do you notice? Number 1, in the way you interact with people, or in other words, relationships, friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, strangers, yourself, right? You're a person too. How does this big change, the sale of this home or whatever, how does that positively influence the way you interact with people? Jot that down. When you're done, go to the next one. Same question. What kind of positive influence do you notice on your career and finances? And I would imagine that finances is going to have a lot to say on this one. And your career. You know what? Maybe you already changed careers, and that's why you wanted to sell the home. Or maybe you couldn't change careers, but you wanted to, but you couldn't until you sold the home. Maybe it will have no effect on your career whatsoever. I don't know your circumstances, but you do. So think about it. What kind of positive influence will you notice on your career and finances because of this accomplishment? Now, if you're a student and you're not working, replace career with my studies, with my education, something like that. Next question. Actually, the same question. What positive influence do you notice? Again, because you've accomplished your outcome, what positive influence do you notice on your health? Wow, probably a lot. You're probably sleeping better. You probably have less stress, less anxiety. You're probably, maybe your digestive system is working better. I don't know what health problems were caused because you couldn't sell the house, but whatever they were, they're going to be gone now. So this is where you're going to jot that down. And health includes, all areas: physical, emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual, all of that. So any health aspects. Maybe you just feel so dang excited now that you can't wait to get up in the morning and go out running every day. That would be a positive influence on your health. Okay. Next one is self-esteem. What kind of positive influence will you notice on your self-esteem? I think a huge one. So many times when we cannot manifest a change that's important to us, we start to beat ourselves up and think it's all our fault and there's something wrong with us and we're this or we're that. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with that are just absolutely overcommitted. I'm not kidding you. They work 8 days a week and they come in and they're exhausted and they're stressed and they have the audacity to call themselves lazy because they can't do this or this or this. I'm like, lazy is the last thing in the world you are. You are so overtaxed right now. No wonder you can't do this and this and this. So don't beat yourself up over this, okay? Think about how you feel about yourself because you've accomplished this outcome, and just in general, how much better you feel about yourself. And of course, last question, always about your spiritual practice. If you don't have one, you can skip this part. But if you do have one, think about this change, this accomplishment, and what kind of positive influence you may notice on your spiritual practice. Well, now maybe you have the money to go to that retreat or to get a degree in, I don't know, what's it called, theology or something, or just buy some books that you wanted to study, or whatever it could be for you. If there is a positive influence on your spiritual practice, this is where you're going to write this down. So that is the completion of your personal change blueprint. So your instructions now are to take this information. This is all about you. This is your mind movie. And you're going to take this and you're going to start practicing self-hypnosis. I've got a book that you can read about it. I have a course you can take about it. You can watch some of my other videos where I give some instruction on how to do that. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here in this video, but suffice it to say that putting yourself into the state of hypnosis is a piece of cake. We do it every day. The art and skill of hypnosis is knowing what to say to yourself or to your client once you are in that state. And all of this information that you've just put down on your personal change blueprint, this is what you're going to say back to yourself in self-hypnosis. So you go into self-hypnosis, you relax, your brainwaves slow down, your conscious mind can communicate with your subconscious mind. They go back and forth now. Through the repetition of reviewing this beautiful mind movie you just created, you change the neural pathways in your brain. That in turn changes the information going out on your frequency, which is now of a positive nature. And so it raises the frequency. It's at a higher vibrational field. You're going to attract the mirror reflection of everything. All that information you're sending out is going to come back, and you will in no time find that perfect buyer for whatever it is you are wanting to sell. Just be aware that if you haven't been selling something, make sure that your price is fair and all of that stuff is on the up and up, but realize that you do have the ability to change this experience. You have the ability to change these circumstances, and this personal change blueprint is the ticket for you. Use this wisely. If you have questions about it, or you're not sure if you're wording something right, get a hold of me. I'd be happy to help you with that. So this is what my work is all about. If you are enjoying this, if you're getting something out of it, again, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit that little notification bell so that you know when I make new videos, and leave some comments for me. And if you are interested in learning how to do this work as a professional, I teach hypnosis certification courses as well. So I leave all of the links for the PDF, for my books, for my courses, and all that good stuff for you to do. One thing I wanted to tell you too, this might seem kind of silly, but when you're doing your self-hypnosis, sometimes it's not dark enough, and that can be distracting for you. And so I recommend that you use an eye mask. There, it shows up better over here. There are lots of different kinds of eye masks that you can purchase, but I want to recommend this one to you. It's, what's this called? An MZOO or something like that. I'll put the link down below it. I got this on Amazon, but you know what I love about it is that it's padded. It's padded, and it's got these little inserts right here, so it doesn't mask your eyelashes. So if you wear makeup, or you're just sensitive to things pressing on your eyes, you can use this, and it doesn't interfere with that. So just a quick thought. I want you to be successful in your self-hypnosis. So if you have any questions about how to do this, let me know. But this will work for you. So put it to work, especially that guy that gave me the idea to do this video. I want you to try this. Make your blueprint. Give this a shot for a few weeks in self-hypnosis, and then you just let me know how easy it was for you to sell that house. Keep up the good work, everybody. You're doing it, and I'm having fun with you here on YouTube, and I will see you in the next video.